everybody. Welcome to the Heed Army podcast. It's got a few talking points tonight. First of all, Dave's in the lighthouse, and we've got another Dave waiting in the background who Mickey thinks is sitting in a suitcase. So you'll understand when you see why. But lots to talk about tonight. A point gained on the road and a point taken away in administration. So we'll get into all of that. So we've got lots to talk about. Want you to all get your views across, have your say, because there was certain individuals online stating that myself and Mark Rivers had certain agendas on the way we would talk about things on this subject. But what if we just happen to have the same opinion? So there we go. Lots to talk about. Ladies' game as well on Sunday. There's a friendly Mickey will be telling us about that. There's a charity night down the Schooner, but we'll get straight into the 1 point deducted. Well, before we do that, lads, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
Hi, I'm a bit cold. I'm in the basement of a lighthouse, but you know, as you do.
We're going to get into that. He's going to take us on a tour shortly. This is amazing.
By the jumper, he skinned the bear on the way.
Yeah, nice. Don't know if there's a bear to be found in the Antarctic. We'll see. 1 point deduction, lads. Of course, the news broke this week that the club fielded a player in a game against Torquay that had already reached their five yellow limit. Unfortunately, this has resulted in a 1 point deduction and a fine. The club had appealed it, but they've accepted it now. Very disappointing considering that the way results went for us midweek, where we were very, very fortunate for those results to go the way they did. We were still outside the relegation zone. But let's get into it. Of course, it's never how you want to lose a point. Especially not on the pitch. Devastating. Obviously, I can understand everybody's frustrations that that vented online. Send them in tonight. We'll read them out tonight. We're not going to hide from anything. We've got lots of messages coming in, though. But lads, Mickey, I'll let you go your thoughts, and I'll just put some messages up on screen when you're talking.
First and foremost, it's very disappointing. Coupled with what happened in the cup last year, I know people don't mean to make mistakes. That's hence why I put "if" the poem up on Twitter yesterday. It has to tighten up. It really does. I'm sure those at the club know full well that it has to tighten up as well. It's really disappointing, but it could have been worse. It could have been 3 if we'd won the game. Would have lost all 3 points. I'm not going to castigate anybody for the mistake, because whoever has made that mistake will be feeling just as shit as everyone else, probably worse.
Aye, absolutely.
So, it is an error. It's 2 errors now. If you make the same mistake over and over again, it's classed as incompetence. And I know fine well the people that are down at the gates of football club aren't incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're a professional football club, and we actually come across. I think we come across extremely well, and everything we put out there, the social media, the interviews, So as Mickey's been saying, everyone's been saying, just disappointing that we lost a point in this way. I suppose the key will be at the end of the season, if it's crucial or not. Devastating if it's the difference between staying up and going, that would be absolutely devastating. Just for an administrative mistake, basically.
It will, but I mean, I'll always do it. I'll always be a devil's advocate. But look, how many times have we been in a win position this season, or had a position to get a draw this season and we threw it away? I'm not saying it's the same circumstances, but the club and the players, were in that position down there. 1 point hasn't really made a massive difference. Yes, it was the end of the season, we had deducted, but there's still a lot of games to be played. There's a lot of points to be won. There's a lot of points to be lost. And the way we're playing at the moment, who's to say that it's the end of the world? It's not. It's really frustrating, But there's only
no wonderful criticism. Let's put it this
way.
No,
not at all. Not. And I'm sure the person involved held their hands up and maybe even had a talking to. Who knows? I don't know. I don't pry into these things. We're not an investigative journalism podcast. We're just a podcast. But yeah, look, I've got Mr. Luke. Obviously, we might have read it on the screen. Hello, Jant. A bit disappointed about the 1 point deduction. That doesn't matter to us just as much. Still possible. Keep the faith. It certainly is. And then we've got obviously evening lads. It's been going so well. Shame about the points deduction. Gated's look. It is. We've got another one here. Liv Walden was gutted to keep the faith. Got to keep the faith. Keep going. Colin Dilbo, but I believe 51 points. Will I think that's what he's saying about the steel. 51 points. No. Yeah. There we go. Yes, it is. That's just confirming that. And Darren Walden's put evening lads back from nearest sea. Just hoped that 1 point isn't the difference with Steel down. Well, of course, I mean, as I say, yes, it isn't anything that's the players' fault. And I wasn't equating that to against the players or anyone at the club, but how many times have we lost points over the years, and it's been happened on the pitch, and it's our own doing.
Absolutely.
So
the person involved as well must be gutted, must be livid when that mistake's found out and it comes out and we're getting a point deduction. They must naturally they're going to be absolutely livid with themselves, aren't they? You would be, obviously if you're working for the club. But I was a little bit. Not angry, but I was a bit disappointed by some of the comments on social media. So one or two, not Gateshead supporters, just fans in general said, "Oh, the club's cheating." I thought, well, I don't think cheating is the word I would use, to be honest.
No, but if, at the same point, anyone has their grievances, you can air them just in the right way. Don't slander anybody or anything like that. Your messages.
I'm just going to come in here just quickly. I was talking to a referee ages ago. And you see, every match referees get hammered. What about this decision? What about that decision? And he turned around and said, "Yeah, I might have made some crap decisions." He says, "But sometimes footballers can't even pass 10 yards to each other, or they can't talk to each other."
Mm-hmm. Aye, that's it. Aye.
It's all about that, but this is the opportunity for you to get your things in. I'll not have it said that we don't give people their views and things like that. Somebody has sent us a message that we cannot bring up on screen. If they'd like to send it in the actual live chat, we'll mention it. That person knows who they are. We'll keep talking about that. We'll talk about throughout the rest of the show. Right, I was to say we've got other things to talk about tonight, but that is going to be a main talking point, of course. That will be going right throughout the evening, should I say. Obviously, we've got the draw at Maidstone, so we'll quickly get into that a little bit before we bring our guest in. Lads, obviously here's the match day away footage that Jack McGragan put up. Always great stuff. I'll just fast forward to when there's a bit of match action. Here we are, the coming out on the pitch. Look, we got a draw. I know you can kind of say that point's wiped out now, but it's still kept us unbeaten. It's kept us kept points on the road, which we said. I said last week, get a point away and victories at home, and we'll do all right. And the lads seem to be doing that at the moment, and long may it continue.
Well, that's right, and we seem to grind out this result. We didn't play our best, did we, for this match by all accounts? And we've come away with a point. So and it stopped them from getting 3. Technically, who were below us. So overall, I was pretty pleased with the point.
I listened to the game, and they had someone that sounded just like Mickey Flanagan on commentary, and didn't give too many details about the game away for an audio. I know being snobby on that one, but apparently there wasn't. I was talking to Tony Carter, who watched it online, and he said there wasn't one sliding tackle in the game because of that plastic pitch, and the bounce wasn't the greatest.
Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Because these new 3G pitches are meant to be quite good, aren't they? But it's an interesting take. What do you think of the game, Mickey? You listened to it as well.
I listened to the game, and I also listened, obviously, through the comments. I like to go through everyone's comments and I think Dan Bell summed it up right. I just think the amount of games have caught up with the amount of away games.
Yeah,
it's well over 2,500 miles in the last 3 weeks, isn't it?
And I thought that was a good way to sum it up. It probably did look a bit leggy, and that this new AstroTurf, the 4G stuff, I've had a kick about at the one at Gateshead Stadium, and trust me, when you're falling, it's just as hard as concrete. It's a little bit spongy, and that's it.
Aye, not great.
I'm not a big fan of it because I think it causes a lot of injuries as well.
Is it in the Football League? Sutton United had it when they went up, but did they have to go to grass when they went up?
Take theirs out.
Yeah, they had to and I think they've only been down a couple of seasons as well. So I can understand why clubs do it at a lower level, but if most of the clubs at this level now, if they get established after a few years, the aim has to be Football League, doesn't it? Or, at least sustaining yourselves. So having one of these pitches at this level cannot be the greatest. There was a slight tackle there, by the way, so that fact was wrong.
I mean, I know they're in and around us in the bottom of the league in Dorking.
Mm-hmm.
But if Dorking want to go up, they would have to rip it up.
Yeah. It's one of them things. It's always going to be, somewhere a little club can make money because it can have people playing on it through the week. They can change it into 6-a-side courts by pulling the lines across the pitch and things like that. What we used to do. But look, point on the road.
Point on the road. We've got to be happy with that, isn't it? That's.
I'll always take a point on the road. I'll always take it.
Yeah, and the momentum, got to keep the momentum. Yes, it might have been a leggy display. Can we put the pitch down to that? Can we put the miles down to that? It's a long, hard season. These games are always going to happen. We've got a small squad. We haven't got the rotation. We know that.
It's stayed overnight as well. So there's an argument to say, well, it shouldn't be leggy, but it's we travelled to away games. Davy Steele, we went to Dover on a frigging minibus, for God's sake.
I mean, it didn't play 90 minutes though, Mickey.
Exactly. We went. I mean, it takes a video when you're travelling a run.
It does.
Everywhere. Yeah. Yeovil on a Tuesday night, coming back from there. They've been on the bus and then they've got to play football.
Listen, it's a point game. It's a game where maybe it's a few months ago we might have lost. We'll ground it out. Got the point and move on. Happy days.
I know they're bottom of the league, but they got a draw at the weekend, didn't they? Did they get a draw against Scunthorpe midweek?
Yes,
I think they did.
Yeah, they're fighting for their lives. That they're really good. This is their make or break. These next 10 games, they've got to really get stuck into it. So. Anyone that goes down there is going to have a tough game. Whether it's the prettiest or not, that's another question. But it's hey, that's where it is. We'll remove that, and we're going to bring our guest in shortly. But we'll quickly play a message from our sponsors, and also have to like and subscribe and all that jazz. So we'll be back in a second, and we'll be bringing in Dave, the Chesterfield fan. Well, David Steele thought he had time to hide that lamp. He hasn't. He's disappeared. But we have brought in another Dave here. Just confirm, you're not in a caravan. You're not in a suitcase.
No, I am not the Burberry Paddington. Unfortunately, it's just some cheap curtains.
Yeah. Dave, thank you very much for joining us. As you do the Chesterfield podcast, don't you? And as this season's been fantastic. We've been able to get fans on from every club this year. I think it's been a very fortunate year for getting people on to talk. I think it must be the sign of the times with modern technology. But it is lovely to get your point of view. And at the moment, I mean, I would gladly swap places with you, but not on the greatest run of form at the minute.
No. So we last won, I think it was the 24th of January. So we've had, and in that time, obviously, we had a bit of a fixture pile up, like you do. So we've played 9 games, I think, since the 24th of January. So we've been playing every 3-4 days. Yeah. And I think we've drawn 3, lost 6. So we've not won since then. So it's been a torrid February. But we've only really there was one game against Woking that we played in kind of mid-February where they were much, much better than us. But the rest of them, we've had I think in all of the games, we've probably had a higher XG and shots on target and all of that stuff. Against Oldham 2 games ago, we had something like 27 shots to their 3 and lost 1-0. So it's been a bit like that. Anyone that saw highlights of the Wrexham game a few days ago, at 1-0 down, McCallum misses from 2 yards out. and then you get a penalty that's not given, and it's just been like that. We just can't score, it seems, and then there's those little mistakes that your defenders make suddenly become massive, don't they? If you can't even score one, so we're quite glad we're going into spring and March. Hopefully, it's a line in the sand.
The season's going pretty well, bar them last 9 games. It looks like you slipped out the championship race, bar an absolute massive collapse from the top 2. But that must be a little bit of a gutter that you slipped away from that part of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of a bit glass half full on it, just because I've always thought from the start that Wrexham will probably win the league by a good 10 points or something. I still think they will. I don't personally think that Notts County will be able to hold on to their coattails either.
Thing?
Well, I've got to say, out of the 2 sets of fans, it's always the Notts County ones that pipe up with little. So out of the 2, I'd much prefer Wrexham to win the league. But I think it's almost a good thing in a way, in that we can mentally get around the fact that to go up, you have to do it through the playoffs, and you're not in that title race. I think for whichever team of Notts County, Wrexham don't win the league, if it goes right to the end and you finish on 105 points and finish second, are they really going to be mentally prepared to go into a playoff against Southend or something like that? So I'm just kind of hoping we can get that 3rd spot, so you've got 1 home game for Wembley.
They'll be devastated. Whoever doesn't go up is going to be devastated for not going up. Morale. Because Dave, you started the season so well. I remember seeing you against Notts County, and it was top of the table clash basically. I think Wrexham were 3rd at the time, and you've just fallen away a little bit recently, but you're obviously still a very good team. Obviously,
we had one dodgy week. I think it was, when was that, October time maybe, where we lost 3 games in a week. And we kind of dropped off the pace a little bit. But apart from that, the form was excellent. And like I say, it's been quite an exciting season. We beat Wrexham 2-0 at home. I was speaking on their podcast last week, and they were saying that's the worst they've played all season.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives us a bit of optimism that if we can regain the form again and then go into the playoffs in form, we know we can beat these teams at the top. We know on our day we're as good as them. So it gives us a bit of optimism to cling on to.
I think you look at the hope. I mean, look at Grimsby Town last year. I mean, they were mediocre at best. Not as good as Chesterfield this season, and yet they went up in the playoffs, didn't they? So, yeah.
You just have to end the season well, don't you? If you're going to have a blip, have it in February and in April, May, I suppose.
Yeah, a good bit of
the first week of March would be nice as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time for you to players, to be honest. You've got your perfect time to have a game against us.
Yeah. Obviously, you just mentioned there about obviously whoever finishes second, are they going to be up for the playoffs? But my worry as well, not worry, my thoughts on Notts County, if they finish second, are they going to keep on hold of Macaulay Langstaff? Are they going to keep hold of some of the other players? They're going to get cherry picked by the Football League. Surely they're not going to. They're not. This is their season. This is going to be their best chance for a long time.
And even their manager, is if a good team comes in for them, I had Paul Cook on my podcast ages ago, just before he came back to Chesterfield, and he talked about how players and managers have trajectories and clubs have trajectories, and sometimes the player's trajectory is on a steeper curve than a club's, and at that point they end up finding the way somewhere else.
I think if Wrexham were not to go up automatic and lost out in the playoffs again, I think they would keep their players and strengthen, obviously. Yeah. But I think Notts County would be a different kettle of fish myself. But don't know what anyone else thinks if they want to send in the messages on that. Lad, I'll let you ask Dave some questions.
So Dave, obviously you're a big club for this division. Let's be frank here. There's some big clubs in this division. You're one of them. What do you think of this? The idea of 3 up, 3 down, which has been sort of, mainly in the press, it's been proposed. But do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I think definitely, because you look at some of the teams. A lot of people say, don't they? Oh, you need to earn your spot and all this lot. But I think at the moment with a 2 up, you're kind of rewarding the failure of some of those teams at the bottom of League Two. There's those same teams that are kind of finish 3rd or 4th bottom of League Two every season. So I pick a name, it's not fair, but you see teams like a Colchester or someone like that, and they're always kind of fourth from bottom with 3,000 fans or something. You think, do they really need to be rewarded every year by keeping a place in that division? And I think it's and I think the same as well with going up from League Two to League One. You know, we used to be a team that bounced between League One and League Two, and the 4 go up from League Two, which seems a bit ridiculous. So I think they should just redo it all, so it's just 3 up, 3 down from everything. But I do like the way they do the playoffs in the National League, having that kind of home advantage for the top teams that finish at the top of that playoff group. I think is quite good.
Just a new concept, that isn't it? It's sort of last 4 or 5 years, is it? Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, it is a strange one, but obviously you are on a bad run of form, as we mentioned there before. You're coming up to Gateshead. What's the general feeling amongst the Chesterfield fans going into this one? Do they see it as a real shot to get back in getting some points on the road, or is it just another one where you go, please, can we get something?
Yeah, you kind of cling on to everything, don't you, when you're in a position where you keep losing? You know, you'll say, "Oh, we're playing a team that's right near the bottom. It's a good time to play a team near the bottom." But then you lose 1-0 after, and then the next day you'll be away at Wrexham. You're like, it's a good time to play a team at the top because they'll get up for that, you know. And then you lose it 2-1 and stuff like that. So I think you can't really tell. We've had a change in habit in the first half of the season. We had a habit that we generally scored first. And although we didn't kind of blow teams out of the water like a Wrexham or a Notts County do, we generally won games by 1 goal. In the last month, it's changed and we've let in the first goal. So we've had a lot of games where we've had, you know, really good play in the first half, had lots of shots, gone in at half time 1-0 down. And then you kind of, when you're low in confidence anyway, it kind of gives people things to chase. So I think if I was the Gateshead manager, I'd be saying go all out in that first kind of 20 minutes to try and go 1 up, and it'll be like a kick in the guts. I think so. It just needs to click again. It's odd when your team's kind of playing well and you like the manager. I like the manager, and you like the squad of players and creating lots of chances. You know, you kind of think, you know, a manager's kind of requested that he has to change things because you're not winning, but I can see it from Cook's side of things that if they're having lots of shots and creating lots of chances and they're just not scoring them, then do you really need to change anything, or do you just need to try and play them back into form? So I think we just need that lucky break in a match, and then we'll probably end up on a good run again.
I hope you get it next week, midweek.
It's true what you say. You really worry if you're not creating the chances.
That's
the real worry.
Yeah,
exactly. We're not playing badly. We've only played badly, I think, once in the 9 winless runs.
I mean, you've lost Tishy Manga. Oh, I think I've said that right. And McCallum's come in. I mean, obviously, we're talking about the 2 sitters he missed on Tuesday. I think if he's given them chances on Saturday, he'll bury them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Dobra's been our kind of key attacker, I suppose, this season. I mean, he's a right little cheat, to be fair. He dives all over the place and he's always shushing away fans and things like that, you know. But he's out injured. He's been out injured the last few games. So I don't think he'll be featuring. But that means Cole Clough, who we obviously signed from Altrincham, has been really coming into his own on the left wing. So he does create quite a lot, and we just need McCallum to start.
Play against us about 5 times in the last 2 years with FA Cup replays against Altrincham. So we know about Collar Clough. He's a
good player, Collar Clough. I like Jeff King as well.
I mean, everyone loves King.
Quickly.
Yeah, he's been out of form. Jeff King, he had a really good first half of the season. He's kind of been a bit in and out of the team. I think they took him out of the team a bit because he was on that kind of 1 booking away from getting 10 yellows, and we had Notts County and Wrexham coming up, so they kind of took him out of the team to stop him getting suspended. And I don't know and I think he's had kind of a personal loss as well and things like that. So it seems to have adjusted his form a little bit, and he just needs to get up to speed again. But like I say, they're all very likeable. All very likable players, and
that's what you want, you know what I mean? But it makes it hard though as well, doesn't it? When you've got nothing to criticize, you can't say, "Well, he's not a trier." If they are,
that's right.
You know what I mean? If someone's 110% and it's not going your way, you're like, "Oh, it's just luck, isn't it?" That's the way we've got to look at it. Sorry,
so what Cookie are the fans starting to turn on him, or is it a 50-50 split?
I was about to ask that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the moment the overwhelming majority are still well behind him. I think we feel lucky that we've managed to get someone of that caliber while we're in the National League, to be honest. And since he last left us, when was that? 2015, I think it was. I don't think we've had a manager for more than 12 months since he left.
Right.
So we really need to stop going through this period of, 1 month of bad form. Suddenly you kick out that manager. They then bring a whole bunch of players in. You then have to wait for the other ones to be out of contract. And then they go through a bad run of form and you sack that manager. So then, and it's just madness. So I think, it's that usual thing with managers, isn't it? When you go on a bad run, everyone goes, "Oh, but he needs a plan B. He needs a plan B," and you kind of think, does Pep have a plan B? You have to have a philosophy, don't you, that you believe in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think everyone's still behind him. He'll be given loads of time. There's no chance in a million years that the board or anything like that would sack him or anything like that. He's there for the long run.
Is this the 4th or 5th year in the National League now?
Yeah, 5th, something like that. I remember when we first came down, there was I think it was when Tranmere had just gone up. And I think one of their fans came on our forum and said, this is how the National League will go. You'll go into it thinking, oh, this is going to be a good laugh. I get to go to places like Dover and, Wealdstone, and you've never heard of them before. No disrespect. And, you'll have a good laugh. And then it's only when you get to like Christmas that season when they're all better than you. Then you start to think, oh, this is not as good as I thought it was going to be. And I think, like a lot of clubs of our size that have dropped in the National League, you have to accept that you're on a level playing ground with everyone else, and that's the only way you ever then get to the point where you start being able to get out of this league again.
I suppose now, though, if you're having that time, you've been able to get the driftwood out that maybe didn't do it for you in the Football League that you still had under contract, and then you've, as you say, finding your feet, and now you've got players of the level and a little bit higher that are hungry to get out of this league rather than the players that maybe think they should have been in the league above anyway. So do you think that's a big difference you're seeing now, the hunger in the players to the players that you had when you came down with?
Yeah, I think we've probably tried everything again since we came down. We started with Martin Allen, and that was very much big guy hoofball. He'd admit that himself. We went back to John Sheridan, who was successful with us, and that all went very wrong. He had James Rowe, who was obviously is now awaiting trial, and spent well beyond his means. The accounts came out recently, and he spent far too much gambling on promotion. Wow. So.
Is the club financially okay? Obviously, you will see like Southend and obviously Yeovil and a few others. Are you on a good track? Obviously, you went to the new stadium, and obviously well attended, well supported. Are you fairly healthy?
Yeah, so it's the community trust now that kind of got the club off of Dave Allen, who used to own Sheffield Wednesday. So that kind of cleared the debt, but it does seem like at the moment the accounts came out a couple of weeks ago and kind of losing £1 million or something like that a year. So these Kirk brothers, who are Chesterfield brothers that have earned a lot of money in various businesses and stuff, have started investing in the club but keeping it in the community trust's hands. So it does seem like financially it's on pretty stable ground. But I think they're still at that point as well where they want to kind of restructure the wages and things like that. So it is more of a break-even club, and you're not gambling on things like promotion, and it's pretty stable for they talk about as being there for the next 50 years rather than gambling everything on getting into the league in the next 2.
It gives a peace of mind as well, doesn't it? It's nice that you've got that community part of it, and then people with money back in the community part of it mainly, which is good, because normally the money men want to come in and take over completely and have their vision, don't they? So it's nice that they're on board with that. Before we, Mickey, got another question?
Yeah, it's good to hear that the community trust still involved, because you were one of the first clubs that took over your club, weren't you?
Yeah, back when Darren Brown kind of tried to destroy us in the early noughties, we were the first to kind of go with that model. So it kind of came back again. So I hope that does stay the way that it is at the moment. I think that's the desire is for that to happen. Yeah.
Because the reason I know that is he's a commentator now, Phil Tooley, because Gateshead were having a few money troubles at the time. Were asked to speak to different trusts, and Phil was one of the ones that come up the northeast and had a word with the Gateshead one.
Yeah,
that that was a long time ago. I mean, but
and I think over the last year we've kind of joined in with the protests at Southend as fans, and things like that. So I think we do need to stick together. I think it's that this league seems to have become one where teams drop into or to recover. I think a lot of teams come down to the National League because of bad owners or things like that.
Yeah.
It seems very rarely that it's bad form, and it's more likely bad owners. But I actually quite like it in this league. The teams that you come up against, it's quite a good. I think it's quite an attractive league to follow in many ways. Like yourselves, you play good, attractive football. There's not that many hoofball teams in this league. It's quite a fun one to play in.
And it's
just the one that's top of the league, really, isn't it?
About to say the one that's top of the league.
That's why I was struggling.
Yeah.
Scunthorpe are signing anyone over.
Yeah,
that's 5, aren't they?
Yeah. I think they'll struggle unless they go on a massive run, but that's for another day. Dave, what's your prediction for Saturday?
Honest prediction.
Well, if I'm going with my heart, I think we can. I think it'll be a win by a goal or something like that. So it could be a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something like that. But if I'm going with my head from the last few weeks, we'll probably have 25 shots, and you'll probably have 2 and win 3-0.
Hopefully, that'd be nice.
I think it'll be an attractive game. I think it'll be good fun. So,
are you making the trip up on Saturday?
Yeah, hoping to. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
You've got to go to the
Yeah.
Is that the tip?
The school it's just down the road from the stadium, so they've got good food on there and stuff.
It got a mention on the Chesterfield fan sort of site. They were asking sort of which best pubs. I think a few of your fans are coming up for the night. Obviously, you have a night in Newcastle, so but 1 or 2 asking about the schooner. So I think there might be 1 or 2 in there.
Yeah, that must be the young Royster Doisters that's coming up.
Yeah, that's
Newcastle.
What better place to soak up your tears than the big market? Dave, thank you very much.
I think that's where we're going then.
Yeah,
that's right, exactly.
Dave, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Dave.
And as we say to every guest, good luck for the rest of the season. Just not on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, well, I've had quite a few former Chesterfield Gateshead kind of players on the podcast, because I generally interview former players. So I had James Montgomery on, and had Colin Larkin on a bit ago. He was talking about playing up front with Jack Lester for a little bit while he was at Gateshead. So I hope you stay up, just because James Montgomery is a lovely chap.
Have you been able to get Jack Lester on your podcast or not?
No, he just doesn't reply to me. I've had a few like former teammates that have gone to him and they said, "Oh, he really hates talking about himself."
Yeah, because
I don't think he does.
I've only been to Wembley once, and the only man to score was Jack Lester. So we've been love to get him on one day, but we'll have to.
Maybe we can collectively go around to his house and get him one day.
What about Scotty Bourne?
So look at the duct tape and the rope, but we'll not mention it on air. We don't want to incriminate ourselves. Dave, thank you very much once again. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, and have a safe trip if you come up on Saturday. Cheers.
All the best.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All the best.
Take care,
Cheers, Dave. Thank you.
Get out that case.
There we go. Dave's going to try and get out his suitcase there. No, absolutely lovely to have Dave on once again. Another fantastic guest. We've been blessed with them this season. So yeah, we're going to carry on with all the debate, the things we're talking about tonight. If you've only just joined us, of course, the 1 point deduction. We've had the draw away at the Maidstone, where you're down there, and obviously we've just done the preview there with Chesterfield. And a big thank you to Chesterfield fans that messaged in there. We've got a lot of messages to get through. We'll get into them. Davey's going to give us a tour of his lighthouse very, very shortly. But remember, like and subscribe, and we'll be back with you in a second. The Heed Army podcast needs your help. No, we don't need money. All we need is you to do one simple thing. It'll take less than a second. If you could hit that like button, the subscribe button, and share whatever post that we put up regarding Gateshead Football Club, it'll go a long way in helping the show build and ultimately helping us push the club to the moon. right, there we go. Hope you do that. We've hit 400 subscribers. Thank you very much, everybody. Keep it going. We're riding high. Remember, like the stream as well, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. More on YouTube though, please. That would be great. Help it get the algorithms going. Right, Dave, you're in a lighthouse. Come on.
I am. Do you want a tour? Do you want this?
Oh, yeah.
Look at this exclusive. I don't know how this is going to go live. So this is here's all the workings behind me.
You're not gonna have a lick of paint like on that wall. Look at that.
Oh man, I know. Look at this. It's like, but look at this. Look at this room behind me. Look at that. So that's the air compressors for the foghorns. They don't work anymore. They got switched off, but it's a museum piece.
Where Davey is, they like to see ships crash.
that's it exactly. How do you think I'm making money? What? Sorry?
Can you take up where the bulbs are?
Where the bulbs are? No, not my little cable for the internet will never reach to the top. Come on, man.
I see a load of what they're called.
Come on.
Solar panels there over your shoulder.
So these are the old ones. So yeah, these are all the old ones. So we got them replaced at the beginning of last year.
I'll try and save a load of electricity on the podcast. I can have bigger lights and everything. Be great. Oh, hello.
So I've got
the lights have failed already.
Yeah. So everything I'm running at the moment is all on solar power. So I've got 72 solar power panels and another 48 running the lighthouse. So it's pretty impressive stuff.
There it is. Look at that. Colin Dillwood, I'm sure Mickey has shares in the schooner.
He does.
He does. We've got a lot of messages that have come up. Someone's put Macaulay Langford after Man City. Obviously, that was in the conversation we're having earlier on.
We've got relations, believe it or not, in the schooner.
Yeah. Charles Waff put, I agree with Mickey, seeing a lot of injuries in the ladies' game. Obviously, that must be with the 4G pitches. So if you want to send in your messages on all the things we're talking about, of course, the 1 point deduction, have your say on it. We're not gonna shirk away from it. It's disappointing, it's upsetting, but look, there's a lot of football to be played. I know it's an adage, we're in control of our future here. That 1 point doesn't dictate our season. There will be people going, yes, but if at the end of the season we'll go down by 1 point, look, there's been 46 games we played this season. There's 46 games to try and get them points. It's not a clerical error. I wouldn't have relegated where it's been a form. So
who's the next 5 games we've got? Chesterfield, Halifax,
Bournemouth, Torquay at home, and Aldershot away. So these are teams in and around us, apart from Bournemouth. It's a tough running. It is. But you've got to look at the games that we've got midweek at home as well. Dorking have got to come up here. They're in a poor run of form. Yeovil are having an awful time at the moment. They've got to come up midweek. There's a lot of positives here. There's a lot of positives. All right.
Yeah.
And
if we win them.
if I'm not. Sam Pendleton's put a point on the road. Maidstone was is good away from home. It'll be tough against Chesterfield at home, but hopefully we can get a win. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but if we can play our brand of football, hopefully we can create the chances and get in there and score some goals.
We've got to beat Halifax sooner or later, haven't we?
Well, Halifax is one you've got to look at and say that's a realistic one to win, but they won 5-0 midweek.
We never beat them. We'll never beat them at home. When was the last time we beat Halifax Town at home? Oh, well, Halifax AFC.
We beat Halifax?
Well, that's for that FA Cup game of 20 years ago.
Let's try and be more positive. Look,
I know.
I'm joking. What it is we've got here, you may have seen this. It's been on Twitter a day, and it's been advertised on Facebook as well. There is a night at the schooner, and it's going to be in aid of the Gateshead FC Foundation. There's a band on called Celtic Man, and all proceeds will go towards the. I don't know if it's all proceeds. I'd imagine it is. Or proceeds go towards the Gateshead FC Foundation. So if you're free on Saturday night, get yourself down to schooner. Great food, great entertainment, lovely bar, and they are supporting the club and the foundation. So can we support them, please? I think Mickey's already done that. The amount of times he's told them everyone to get down there this season, I think Mickey should get.
To be honest, why not? I mean, we'll go there with the lasses sometimes after the games, have a quick drink and bite to eat after some of the ladies' games. So
better
for us. So
Someone has just corrected me. Of course, I didn't mention it because we were talking about league form, but the Boreham Wood game has been postponed as well. They've got to come up midweek as well, Boreham Wood. Very good side, though, of course. Let's not, say the midweek's going to affect them. FA Trophy game against Farsley. We'll get, obviously want to get these 2 league games out the way this week before we get into that. This time next week will be FA Trophy. Legends is great, Dave, that we just had on. Thanks for having me on, chaps. Looking forward to this weekend, and thank you once again. And if you'd like to give them a follow on Twitter as well, please do. Just search for Legends of the Spire there. Be fantastic. And a few home games in a row is decent. It certainly is, but we've got to play our game and hopefully avoid injuries and avoid suspensions as ever, with our small squad. So let's keep it going like that. Good to hear.
I was listening to Torquay's game the other day. Were they playing Bromley? Whoever, I think it was Bromley. And the Torquay commentators basically says, I can't see us staying up.
Right.
Okay. Oh, that's them 3 points on the road at us.
I'm not saying it myself.
I know.
Where's the positivity, Davey? Come on, where's the positivity?
I've got the positivity. There's left in me grass outside.
How's the car parking?
Right. It seems that we're going to have it seems to be a monthly thing now, Davey's disaster.
A weekly thing.
A weekly thing. Obviously, it's not drone related this week. Right. So, gonna electric car. But didn't come with a 3-pin plug charger, which is the slow charger, 3 watts. So it takes like 24 hours to charge it up. So I bought one as an emergency thing in case I kind of, like run out or kind of get to a charger and try and charge it at home, or especially in the hot weather out, in the summer, park it on the grass outside the house and, Bob's your fancy rant. So got the charger. It worked. I was like, get in, it takes us 12.5 hours to get a full charge from 40%, economical. But I put it on the grass outside the house because where I live, there's a grass verge between the house and the thing. So I got it on, charged it, worked all right, put about 4 miles in, and then proceeded to use 12 miles of electricity trying to get it out the bog that I created on the grass outside. I've got to give a special mention to my neighbour Maxine, my wife as well, who didn't really berate me, which she should have done. They helped to try and get it out, but then my super neighbour next door, Graham, who has saved me a number of times in my idiotic times when I crashed a drone on someone else's roof and he went up on a ladder to get it for us. So Graham, you're my hero.
Is that Croft Park?
Oh God, it looks like it's done it. So as you can see, I tried to get a little bit of salt from the salt bin to try and get some traction. That didn't work. There's mud all over. Yeah, that's Davey's weekly disaster, and you can see where I eventually got off there. And I cried and rocked slowly in the shower for 4 hours afterwards. So yeah, if you ever wondered who that idiot is in your street, it turns out I'm the one in Maine. So there we go. That's all done.
Dear.
Never a dull moment.
What next week?
No, I'm not going to do a thing. I'm just going to eat cornflakes. I'm just going to sit in the house. I'm not doing anything.
How's the drone anyway? How's the new drone? Are you happy with it?
Love it, but it's been bad weather lately, so I haven't been able to get it up. So on that note,
that excuse again.
You know what I mean. Cold weather, you kind of get it up when it's cold. I did have a message from where it is, Dan Walden. He's put there, and luckily for you, Dave, one more goal, and it would have mean you're swimming the Irish Sea. Of course, if that had won 2-1, but if we still get to Wembley, I'll be cool. If we come out, if we do make it to Wembley, I will be doing the Daniel Craig at Tynemouth Beach coming out of the water. It's gonna be gorgeous. I'll have seaweed hanging off my nipples and everything.
Stand there with a catapult.
The council be happy trying to mow the lawn. Oh God, good job I didn't advertise it. It's not my fault. They need to put better drainage out there. It's disgusting.
Get Simon Larry on the case.
He's already, I think, yeah. Look at Simon will do it. He'd probably just call us numerous names, come and stand and laugh. But yes, right. Look, lads, we've got this game. I want people to get their predictions in. We've got 15 minutes left. If you want to get your predictions in, if you are down at Maidstone as well, and the point deduction, come on, have your chance to say it. And also to the person that messaged us on the Facebook page, if you'd like to send it in again. But yeah, so there we go. Right, Mickey, go to your first predictions for the weekend. 1-1. I'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy with that. So sorry, Mickey. I do go against Gateshead sometimes. I'm going 0-2. I know. Doom and gloom tonight. Sorry.
I admit, I've got to be totally honest here. That's my feelings. Exactly.
I think that's just too good. Yeah. I think this whole last 9 games is just masking it, isn't it? By the sounds of it, I see that Oldham fan mentioned earlier about the, they were very lucky against them and stuff, and you think, they don't become a bad side overnight.
But at the same time, it'll be in the back of their minds if they go goal down. It's we're going to get back, and we're going to get these goals. So hopefully we can beat them like terriers and play our game, get some goals, and you never know. I'm going to go 2-1 to Gateshead for mine.
Oh, nice.
Mr. Luke's went 3-1. Liv 3-2. So if you want to get your predictions in, Darren, he's going for. I'll go to get a 2-point win. Oh, well played, Mr. Walden. Well played.
And match commentary, Dave, as usual?
Yeah, and on the National League streaming service as well. Trina's going for 2-0. She hasn't said which way, though, has she?
I was going to say, which way, though, Trina?
Let's get a little secret.
Trina is really torn. She is really on the Chesterfield gates of access.
Yeah, it's her old stumping ground, isn't it? So there we go. We've got Colin has went 1-1. So yeah, keep them coming in. 4-2. Here we've got Gavin Rudd is put disappointed with the 1-point deduction. Wonder how these things happen. You're right, destiny is still in our hands. Seek a 2-1 win on Saturday to the Heed. Gavin, thank you very much for your message. And she's put to Gateshead. She's redeemed us.
Lots of positivity, isn't there? Lots of positivity around, isn't there? Despite the 1 point.
You wouldn't think of reading Facebook the other day or Twitter.
No, that's true.
I mean, I watched, like I said earlier, I watched the highlights, and the Wrexham's 2 goals were good goals, but they did get in behind them quite easily on the wings. So,
okay.
And we've got plenty of pace up front. I'm not sure what Chesterfield's back was like, to be fair.
Yeah.
But we've got plenty of pace going forward, so.
Hopefully we can get in there, and nice to see if we can get Denanga back on the score list, and as well as Harris as well. Harris has looked dangerous when he's come on of late. Right, there's a couple of things to mention. Obviously, got the ladies. Mickey's got information about a friendly this weekend, but also as well, you may have just seen on Twitter tonight that Gateshead are going to be honoured at the North East Football Writers Awards on Sunday at Ramsgate Hall. So, I would imagine we'll have some information from that after it happens, but. Good stuff. Marsk as well, because obviously they won the league in their respective leagues. So both teams are going to be coming up with their exploits next year. Last year, sorry.
I wonder if the whole squad from last year are going to be there, because if so, like big Harry Hill thing, fight! Because wasn't much friendliness between the two of them at the time.
Yeah,
that's true. Aye.
No, I just think it'll be representatives from there. But nice that we're being recognised for a fantastic season last year, and so it's good. And Liv Walden's actually going to be at the games. She's happy.
Yay!
Oh, good.
Great stuff.
So my nephew's second game, and trust me, guys, I think we've got to.
We've got him on the line. I've got him hooked.
We've got him on the line.
That's it. Not turning back now.
Nah. What was I going to say? Ladies' game on.
They didn't have a game on Sunday, but I've been informed tonight they're playing Sun and West End away on Sunday. Usual kick-off time, I would imagine 2 o'clock. So I'm pleased for Carl and the lasses, because they're starting to hit a run of form, and it would have been a nightmare for them to have 2 weeks off.
And decent opposition as well. Sun and West End are a very good side.
The 4th in the league above.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good test for the lasses. A really good test, and it's probably what they need. Hopefully, injuries will clear up soon. I mean, obviously, Libby and Jess Douglas might be a bit longer. Obviously, Libby's out for a year now. Bless her. But there's promising signs there. And Carl, Hugo, and Rusty are doing a great job. And the lasses are playing well. And I'm buzzing they've got a game, because I didn't think I'd get to a game on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh well. Fingers crossed. It's a good one. Hopefully the weather stays away as well, because we've got bad weather coming in next week as well, apparently. And if the BBC weather forecast is to be believed, I know it changes quite regularly, but the current forecast is snow on Tuesday and on Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
You know,
yeah. We could do with the game not being called off on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
We're stockpiling games now. Well, the fixture list is coming thick and fast now, isn't it? You know, all these postponed games and.
To be honest, was it 2 months of the season left?
That's it, aye. End of April, aye.
Scary, isn't it? But a lot of games will be played in that time. But we'll have to, obviously, we'll get into it. We've got a message here. There's a charity game on the 20th at South Shields Ground. It's Danny Graham's Legends versus Gateshead SC Legends. All proceeds go to the Heel to Toe charity. Didn't know anything about that. So never heard a thing on that one, but good stuff. And cancer research. So 2 good charities there. So if you want to get along to South Shields and see, I don't know which players are involved. So it'd be nice to, if there's any advertisements about that, be shared. We'll put it out there. Obviously just in a couple of weeks. So yeah, fantastic stuff. 20th of May, it's a while away, so it might only just been announced. So yeah, plenty of time. But the thing is, though, we could be at Wembley the next day if things go right. So I wouldn't expect a big turnout. So because we know South Shields fans are like, they love jumping on a Glory bandwagon. Right.
I know, but you could go to that South Shields game, get yourself in the sea, and then go to Wembley the next day. Sorted.
You could, but
or you could swim. You could just swim to Wembley.
I know, but any chance to avoid going to South Shields is always a good day. So, I'd rather go to Tynemouth, Whitley Bay. I'd even go to Roker. I'll just avoid that bit of geographic. So even the fish and chips are awful in South Shields, right?
The Tartan Roker, the big cafe on the top of the hill.
Yeah,
you come into Roker. My grandmother used to work in there years ago.
Wow, there you go.
Is that the one? It's a fish bar now.
The Top Cafe or something it's called.
I think it's near. It's, I don't know. I think there's
just on the road from the Seaburn Hotel thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm thinking the different end. I'm thinking
I'm at the wrong end myself. It's not the Seaburn Rover Hotel. Sorry.
Trina's you've been at the wrong end a few times. Right. Trina also Wembley here. I have the tickets.
Oh, yes. I'll tell you about me dreaming now.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Here we go.
No animals.
It's after
this dream.
It's after the watershed.
It's not honest. It's.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Trina, in my dream, Trina come in the house. She says, I've got tickets for Wembley. I said, but Trina, we've been knocked out. She says, we can still go to Wembley. And I went, I'm not going to Wembley to watch the one who's knocked out the semi-final. She says, why, you selfish pig?
He knows.
She says, I didn't want to go to Wembley. That's what my dream was. So Trina says, Michael won't go to Wembley.
Bet not come true.
I know. I'm thinking.
There's 2 games. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. It's going to be a tough game against Farsley, and let's hope weather conditions aren't a factor in this. It'd be horrible if it was a awful windswept, snowy, sleety day, wouldn't it? But both teams got to play in it.
You've got to love football fans, haven't you? You know what I mean? Chesterfield fan Dave there was the same, wasn't he? Sort of worried about his team, hitting 23 shots and not scoring, and we winning 1-0. And we're all the same, aren't we? We're all the same breed, aren't we? But anyway,
we are, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I keep saying it. I've said it for years. It doesn't matter if the referees had a great game or a bad game. If your team get beat, the referee's the worst thing.
That's right.
It is like that. But we've got about 5 minutes left. If anyone wants to send a message in quickly, Dave, can you? What's your view out the window?
Oh, it's pitch black. It's pitch black.
You've
got no view. Yeah, it's just pitch black. Look, there's the windows. You're not going to see nothing. It's just pitch black, it's nothing.
So how far away is that from your digs then?
Not far. It's this place is meant to be haunted. So this was built in 1868. No, 1898. Sorry, 1898. So
It's not Alcatraz that you're in.
Possibly. I mean, it looks like it, doesn't it? Look at the bars and stuff behind us.
It is haunted. It's that bear that he killed haunts the place looking for his skin.
Right, so mate. It's when you switch. It's when I have to switch the lights off in this place and then sort of walk out in the pitch black through all that. It's pretty unnerving. What happened if you just saw like a face at the window or something? Whatever saw a face now at that window. I mean, bloody hell, honestly.
How many people are with you?
There's 2 others at the moment, but I have stayed here by myself. I had about a 9-day stay back in November a few years ago by myself, and it gets in your head a little bit. You start to hear things, and like middle of the night, we've got mice on the island, so you hear little things in the middle of the night. It's
mice are shouting, Spartans.
Well, I would invest in an air rifle.
Fucking hell. Or cat. Anyway.
I tell you, what a cat on the island.
And a cat would love it on here. There's so many mice.
We need a lift.
Yeah,
that's true. I never thought of that. It'd have to be a house cat.
Yeah. Have you got any famous visitors coming soon or anything to the island?
No, I've got. I tell you what, I've got Springwatch coming to film us on in May. So I managed to find my little lapel badge, my little Gated FC lapel badge, which was donated to us.
You still haven't got your Heed Army hat yet.
Well, I'm going to get off Mickey. He's got me 2, and I've got to give him some money for them on Saturday. So
are you there on Saturday? Yeah,
Saturday and Tuesday. I'll be at both games. Right?
Oh, good. Good. I can get them with the hoose.
So I get them at the hoose, and I'll wear one. I'll wear one for the recording.
What's a heat wave in May, like normal?
It better not be the 21st of bloody May or whatever it is. What's the date?
I thought
21st of May is Wembley.
They were like people on television. They going, is he sweating or is he just an alcoholic?
It's probably a bit of both, to be honest. They want to do behind the scenes bit. They want to sort of follow us and what I do in my job.
Behind the scenes, you see. Well, this is
behind the scenes. Yeah, here's a podcast. Look, lads.
I can't believe that the Heed Army podcast now has some irregular with a studio in a lighthouse.
The things we do, eh? Crying Moses. Here we are.
There's us just in my house, and the Eagles and Tops were by going on an island in the middle. Out there. Is it the North Sea? It's classed as, is it?
North Sea, aye, that's right. When it gets lighter, the lighter nights are here. I can give you some proper views and stuff, and probably get the Wi-Fi sorted. So maybe I could do it from the top of the lighthouse and stuff like that.
Oh, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be cool.
These seagulls splatting against the side of the lighthouse in the
It's David crying. We've gone out with these first aid kits.
Oh no,
little seagull splint.
Well,
each to their own. Each to their own, lads.
Army summer watch. Obviously, when we're going to go full on nature on the Isle of May, that's what we're going to do. But on that note, lads, thank you very much. It's been an enjoyable show.
Thank you.
Give everybody their opportunity to give their thoughts about obviously what's happened. Everyone seems to either settle down or just it's aggravating, it's upsetting, but it's happened. It's like a penalty decision in a game. You just got to wipe your mouth and get on with it. It's happened. It's not going to be turned around, is it? So
it's an honest mistake. I believe it's an honest mistake.
If we win on Saturday, on Tuesday. We could win on Saturday or Tuesday, or if not both, or pick up points from both and be out the relegation zone. And this last week is just a distant memory. It's still in our hands. And if you look at the league table, a lot of the teams, all the teams under us, have played either the same or more games than us. And the teams above us haven't played as many, have played more. So it's in our hands. We've got 2 games in hand on York, a couple of games in hand on other teams. It's ours. It's our destiny to fulfill. Like it was that this time last year when we're pushing for promotion. It's the same for survival. So on that note, Davey, thank you for having a lighthouse. It's really brought a new dimension to the podcast.
It brought light to our lives.
It has. And yeah, I expect you to be doing it from a random location next week.
I'll do it from the bin in the garden.
It's
With a torch.
And David do it from his grass outside his door.
Don't know if I got time with it. But on that note, everybody, we'll see you. I don't know. Depending on the result on Saturday, we might do a Monday night game if you're free. A Monday night podcast before the Halifax one. We'll see. We'll pencil it in.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, but on that note, everybody, thank you, and we'll see you next time.